Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 89 of my 100-day journey. It is the second to last day of Wax Pastel, and I decided to go ahead and grab a sheet of the Canson Mi Tientes Velvet paper. This has a lighter color to it, obviously, than I'd been using. And I chopped it down to 5x7. So I got two 5x7 sheets and then a larger sheet that I can use for something else. But I figured I really do enjoy working on this paper. Of all the papers that I've used with this medium so far, this is the one that I like the most. And I taught two workshops back to back today. And I am exhausted. I'm beat. It's like 10 o'clock at night. I just want to go to bed. And I was like, I'm tired of painting faces, y'all. I really am. I'm over it. So I came up and I thought, well, what can I do that will be interesting to me and enjoyable with this medium on this paper and wouldn't be like another face. And I was reminded this morning I had a real emotional moment this morning. And I was thinking about my mom, who I lost in 2014, January of 2014. So it's been several years now. And I was just thinking about my daughter, and I was thinking about my mom and how much I wish I could talk to her about being a mom and ask for her advice. And it just I just got hit with this wall of grief. And if you've ever lost someone that you really loved, you know what that's like. It just hits you like a ton of bricks out of nowhere, no matter how long it's been. And that's just the nature of grief. So I was reminded that as I came to paint today, and it just reminds me that we carry around with us our ancestors, the people who have come before, and the people whose energy are with us, right? So not everybody, I think, follows us. And I don't think always that the people who follow us are necessarily our relatives. When I talk about ancestors, I talk about just, the essence and energy of people that have lived before and who are interested in us, guiding us perhaps intuitively, or watching out for us, or just following us. So I think about that a lot, of just having this whole group of people that are rooting for me, some of whom I'm sure are members of my family. And so I thought I would paint a figure that sort of spoke to that, kind of carrying these figures around with them. And I did them in the shape of balloons for some reason. That was just what came to me. And I did 3, mostly because that was all I really felt like painting. And in this space, I didn't have room for a lot more. And I just picked kind of a cool color palette, an analogous color palette. And then I picked the background to be yellow to contrast with my figure that I knew was going to be in shades of blue. So they all have these funky faces and these weird expressions. I don't know. It's just what came out of me. And I really love the one in green that's kind of like, what on earth is going on over there? And so anyway, I just got a kick out of it. I was amused by it, which was my intention. My intention for today was to not really paint a portrait face, to have fun, to enjoy this medium and this paper. And that's what I did. So I'm really just at this point, I've got these faces in there. I've got my figure. I kind of sketched out, blocked out the general shapes of the figure. And now I am adding in a little bit of highlights, kind of deepening up some shadows a little bit. There's no pink in what I have. And now that I'm looking at it, I could have used that carmine color and that would have got me that bright, bright pink. But I'm using kind of a purpley shade and that mauve shade and layering it with some white to try and get some variation in the values. But I'm just adding a little bit of light into there. And I wanted to create a yellowy background that's darker on the lighter side of the figure and lighter on the darker side, that kind of Rembrandt type lighting. And I wanted it to be fairly neutral, which isn't difficult with this set. There's a really nice kind of yellow ochre kind of color that works really well to create a neutral. And the ground or the whatever the foundation is that this figure is standing on, floor, whatever it is also kind of shades of gray as well. So I wanted those to be as neutral as I could in order for the figure to really pop. But I really do like that yellow and blue combo. It just feels happy to me. And then as I was doing this figure and kind of building out some form for them, I started to go around with this yellow color. There's a really lovely yellow color in here. And I've mentioned before, when I use yellow, it often represents our spirit. That's kind of the color that I see when I think about, you know, that highest part of myself. That's the color I associate with it. So you'll see me here in a minute kind of start to go around the figure with that yellow, and it sort of turned into this kind of aura, if you will, that this figure is emanating. So at this point, I'm bringing in that yellow ochre color that I mentioned earlier to kind of neutralize and darken up that right-hand side of the painting. And then I started to add a few highlights. I end up changing the shape of the shoulder a little bit. Initially, when I drew the figure, I was thinking that I was looking at the back of the figure and the figure was looking off into the distance. But as I started to look at the shadows, I just started filling in shadows and it became clear that, oh no, this is the front of this figure. The figure's kind of facing us. And so that shifted a few things for me in terms of how I built it out. But as I'm going through and building up this background, I'm kind of deciding how bright I want it to be, how light I want it to be. And this is where I start to kind of carve back into the neck a little bit and the shoulder a little bit. And as I'm doing that, it's automatically creating this type of aura, if you will. And that's what really gave me the idea to continue around the figure with that yellow and make it glow. That's really what it kind of does for me as I look at it. So a super simple one today, but meaningful for me at least. And this is the great thing about art. It doesn't have to be super complex in order for it to mean something and for it to be powerful for whomever it is that reads into it. So I really enjoy creating these simple pieces and playing with these different ideas. So that's day 89, one more day of this medium, and then I'm off to charcoal and graphite and really kind of playing with drawing as a way to close out the series. It's been quite the journey, and I'm so grateful that you're joining me on it. And I've mentioned this before, but it means the world to me when you tell me that you're following along. I think that's super awesome. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for being here. And I hope you're doing well. If you have a long weekend this weekend, I hope you fill it and have an opportunity to fill it with things that you love and people you love. Thanks again. Take care of you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.